Welcome to the Dental School Guide podcast, your ultimate destination for all things dentistry. I'm Dr. Tanner Townsend, your guide through the complex world of dental education. Join us as we uncover the secrets of acing dental school admissions, navigating residency programs, and exploring career opportunities. Please share and enjoy. Welcome back to the Dental School Guide podcast. So what happens if you didn't get accepted on December 15th? Well, the first thing is it's not the end, and it's just the beginning, and you have an excellent window to still get into dental school potentially this cycle, but also set yourself up beautifully for the next cycle if needed. So the first thing you need to do is you need to gather data and assess where you are, okay? So first, you need to make a list of every school that rejected you and every school that didn't give you an interview so far, which I would count as a kind of a borderline rejection, but possibly still holding out if they haven't told you anything. I would still have them potential on your list depending on what school it is. And then I would mark down what schools you were waitlisted at and what schools have had better contact with you on a piece of paper. Then you're going to call, not email, call every school in the new year, not in December, but in the new year, to see if you can get some feedback on how to strengthen your application potentially for the next cycle. Now, some schools will tell you that they have certain times that they do this and they don't do it till February, March, and that's fine. So you just want to first just kind of do a reach out, and you're not going to hear back from everyone, and it's not all going to be positive. You're probably going to get about 10 to 15% of the schools that are actually going to give you clues to what you need to do to change. But likely you already know what you need to do to change in your application to make it better. Okay? Now, the second thing you need to do is not lose hope all the way. Most students get in after December 15th. There is so much movement that happens in the months of January and February especially, and then even going from March to June when school starts. So don't lose hope. There's lots of times to get more interviews and lots of time to hear back from schools that you probably haven't even heard from yet. Now, some key things to consider and hold out hope for during that January, February time period. First, you should not stress if you have not heard from a school until January 15th, okay? Now, most schools are not going to tell you if you have an interview with them until January 15th and the week or two following that if they give you a post-December interview. The reason being is because students that have been invited to a class have 30 days often to decide if they're going to go there. So they have from December 15th to January 15th. Now, if they have 30 days to decide, their schools want to see where they're at in their class size to know how many people they have to interview to find the rest of the students that will fill the seats for their class. So hold out hope from the 15th of January till the end or the early February even on getting another interview. Make sure that you are, during this time, after it hits January 15th, calling schools that you have not heard from, that have not rejected you, and expressing interest. I believe that calling goes a long way compared to email. And once again, it might be a dead end, but talking with someone rather than just shooting an email where there's no sound, voice, or background goes a long way, and you're going to find that you do much better and get much better feedback overall by calling. So don't forget to call. Next, if you are still waiting for some interviews and holding out hope for an interview, you need to be realistic though about your chances, okay? Don't be banking on getting in. You need to actively be pursuing what you need to do next during that same time period as you're hoping for an interview still, okay? And typically there are 4 bottlenecks that keep people out of dental school. 1, GPA, 2, DAT score, 3, experience that they've had, and then timing and school selection, okay? So let's kind of break each one of these down real quick and likely where your bottleneck is. All right. So if you have below a 3.3 or around that 3.3 to a 3.4 range, you're going to get a lot of schools that feel that that is too low. So what I'd recommend is going back and pursuing a master's or a post-bac degree or upping your GPA. If your DAT score is low, and we're talking an equivalent to a 17 with the new scoring system compared to the old scoring system. If you have below a 17 overall or in any category, you need to reconsider taking the DAT. And I'd recommend taking that in March or in May, but you want to give yourself time to retake it if needed as well. So take that into account when you're prepping to take the DAT. Next is experience. This is one that probably doesn't hold students back as much, but you need to make sure that you have that service experience, especially. Shadowing is super important, but volunteering experience is the most important thing outside GPA and DAT that you can do to get into school. The fourth is timing and school selection. Oftentimes, students will wait too long to apply, and the procrastination hurts you. You often don't realize that it hurts you as bad as it does, but man, applying late in the cycle, we're talking in even late July, August, and September and later, is hurting your chances of getting into school. Make sure you're applying early and often. Next is school selection. And this kind of goes in with timing. Applying to the right schools at the right time is super duper important. And at Dental School Guide, we help you know what schools to select and why. Next, we need to make sure that you map out your plan for the next 6 months. So once again, if you have a low DAT or low GPA, those are pretty direct on what you need to do. You need to find a program if your GPA is low with some program that can help you get your grades up so you can apply the upcoming cycle in July of this next year. And same with the DAT. The DAT, you need to prep and practice and get ready to take the test again, unfortunately. Next, we need to also talk about what schools you're going to do. Now, sometimes with some students, we will say at the December 15th deadline, we'll reassess what schools are on our list, and we will come and potentially add schools that still have their applications open. This is the one window where you can apply later and have it be acceptable because there is a lot of movement during this time. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, step 4, you need to fix your application at that point. So either retake the DAT, do the master's, do the volunteer work, and the most important thing is start now. You need to start from the beginning of the year, as soon as the new year hits, and start that volunteering, even if you're still going to get interviews for other schools. You need to start preparing now because schools, the next cycle, will look at what you did during that time period and say, oh, this person didn't do anything to improve their application. They're not doing anything to help themselves at all to be better. And that is a huge con in the school's eye. So make sure that you are constantly trying to get better and improve your application, especially if you're not sure what you need to do next. Do something. And I would recommend volunteering first, hunting for a program if you need a GPA booster, and starting to prep to retake the DAT. Next, you need to know some target dates of what you should be doing to prepare as if you were going to go for the next cycle. So January 15th, hopefully you know roughly what direction you're going to go. And I would say from January 15th to the first week of February, you're going to kind of get a gauge. If you're not hearing anything from any school, then you know you've got to go ahead and start prepping full force for next cycle. But I would start prepping for next cycle at the latest on January 15th. By March 1st, you need to continue to fix the things that you're weak in. And if you need to retake the DAT, you need to be studying for the DAT at that point. By May 1st, I would redo your personal statement. Have that done before the application even opens. That way it's not something that's going to sideline you once you are ready to go with the application. I would then say by June 1st, you need your letters of recommendation submitted and secured. Letters of recommendation are one of the hardest things and what holds up students the most on getting those submitted. You need to make sure that you have your letters of recommendation submitted early. I would talk to your letter writers in April and make sure that they have it done and help set them a deadline for 2 to 3 weeks from when you initially ask them. Next, I would make sure that you have your application ready to resubmit on June 15th. If you are reapplying, we need to give every advantage to ourselves by applying as early as possible. Make a deadline for yourself and apply by June 15th. So that is kind of what we would hope you focus on. Don't focus so much on, hey, I didn't get in on December 15th, okay? There's still tons and tons of room for more students to get in this cycle. And we hope you get in this cycle still, just in January, February, March. But even if you haven't heard good news now or are likely to get in January, February, or March, you still need to prep as if you are not getting in this cycle. So once again, make sure you call the schools that have rejected you, that you know for sure have said no, and figure out the reason why, okay? Then develop your strategy for what you're going to do between January and that first week of February when schools will still send interviews and there's a lot of movement happening. Then prepare for the next cycle. Figure out what exactly you need to do in your specific situation to finish and make your application better so you're not submitting the same application again the next cycle. Schools hate students that submit the same application twice. And then third, stick to your deadlines. Make sure your deadlines are met. Don't let them slide. Make sure you get your stuff on time and in promptly. That way, the next go around, you're ready to go and you have something substantial to submit to the schools. Well, that is it for today's episode of the Dental School Guide podcast. Thank you so much, and we will catch you all in the next episode. Good luck. That's all for today's episode of the Dental School Guide podcast. We hope you've gained valuable insights and inspiration to fuel your journey into dentistry. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast for more expert advice, inside tips, and engaging discussions. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. It would mean the world to us. Until next time, keep smiling, keep striving, and remember, your dental dreams are closer than you think. Thanks for tuning in to the Dental School Guide podcast.